In the headlines, Sev Mackenzie tops the Grade 6 National Assessment, while the Ministry of Education says Hurricane Maria had no major impact on the exam results. The DAIC wants to spark national discussion on marijuana use as it explores fresh economic opportunities for the private sector. And police investigate as a tragic shooting in Newtown leaves one man dead. I am Andrea Levy with the Channel 5 News. Back with the details after this. Thank you for staying with us. First up, a 10-year-old male pupil from the Convent Preparatory School has topped this year's Grade 6 National Assessment. Sev Mackenzie emerged first from a total of 937 candidates who wrote this year's exams. Sev, son of Dominick's General Manager Bertilia Mackenzie and architect Severin Mackenzie, wants to attend the St. Mary's Academy in September and become a scientist when he grows up. He spoke to media shortly after the top 5 performers were revealed.
I practiced and worked hard.
How do you feel that you topped the exam?
Proud of myself.
Did you have any challenges because of Hurricane Maria last year?
Yes. We got less school than we would have if Hurricane Maria hadn't arrived.
Give me an idea as to how you prepared for the exams, what you would do on a nightly basis.
I studied and did exercises.
Who did you receive assistance from?
My family, my teachers.
12-year-old Malika John Charles of the Dublar Primary School, who placed second in the island, wants to attend the Isaiah Thomas Secondary School and be a doctor later in life.
I feel happy. I thank my teachers and my parents for their help and support, and I thank God because He was always there.
Okay, now what was it like preparing for your Grade 6 National Assessment?
Well, it was hard because we had to work long hours in class and at home, but I had a lot of support from my family, so I made it through.
Okay. Were there any extra challenges because of Hurricane Maria and not having lights and having a different school?
Yes, because I had to study at night on a solar lamp, so it was difficult. I would like to tell everyone that focus, and if you work hard, you will succeed. Prayer and hard work equals success. So you pray and try your best and you will succeed.
Special mention must be made of the Dublar Primary School for emerging the top performing school this year. It fielded 7 pupils for the exams, 6 of whom obtained scholarships and 1 bursary. Principal of the Dublar Primary School, Joycelyn Joseph, while highlighting her team and singling out Miss Gail Hippolyte, says a lot of hard work went into preparing the children for the Grade 6 National Assessment.
It's a great feeling, and I must congratulate the students because they worked real hard. This set of students, that's a very good bunch. They are not rude, well-mannered, we get along very well, and they are willing to learn. And because of that, their interest, and they were focused, I think it was easy to work with them and to push them to their greatest potential. The Grade 6, I don't think, all of them started without power, but then we taught them how to study during the day and then sleep at nights and get up early, use the daylight instead because they had no power. I think they overcame a lot of challenges to where they are, but they are hardworking, they studied, they worked hard.
Coming in third is 11-year-old Kadel Kazmi from the Grand Bay Primary School. Kadel, who is grateful to his entire support team, will be attending the Pierre Charles Secondary School come September and wants to be a lawyer in the future.
I feel very excited, I'm elated. God knows what I wanted, He granted me that. I'm very happy. I feel, well, I can't explain it, I'm just so happy I got it.
Okay. And how did you prepare for the exams this year? We know there was Hurricane Maria last year, there was no electricity, so how did you prepare for the Grade 6 National Assessment?
Well, I had to wake up early in the morning and do past papers and study. I had to stay long hours for studying. I had to sacrifice my playing time for me to study.
We've been hearing over the years that girls are outperforming boys and boys don't do as well as girls, but here you are a boy and you placed in the top 5, became number 3. So what message do you have for other young boys who will be writing these exams, or just young boys in school on a whole?
Well, all you have to do, you have a brain, well, use it. Do as much as you can.
Principal of the Grand Bay Primary School, Evans James, says Cadell's excellent performance in this year's exam was expected.
I'm very happy, and he coming out third in the national assessment is not a surprise to me, really and truly, because this boy is disciplined, he's well-rounded. His mother, who is a teacher at the school, is very involved in his education. She helps him quite a lot. And teamwork. There's a team of teachers teaching the grade 6 children. Cadell has been a top student from grade K. He has been a top student and performing well. Cadell is a child who, when he gets a wrong answer, he will not accept it like that, especially if he's confident that what he did was correct.
Kilanda David and Chidi Fabian, both of the St. Martin Primary School, placed 4th and 5th respectively. In related news, education officials are reporting no major impact of Hurricane Maria on the results of this year's Grade 6 National Assessment. Minister for Education Peter Seja says providing psychosocial support to teachers and students after the storm was top on the ministry's agenda.
But even more important to us was the impact of the hurricane on the psyche and livelihoods of our principals, our teachers, students, and their parents. As a ministry, we ensured that all children were returned to school within quick time, and that both teachers and students were provided with the necessary psychosocial support to facilitate their transition back into the classroom.
Seja says based on the outcome this year, the strategies employed by his ministry yielded results.
Believe you me, we were worried that the absence of the usual comfort at our schools would distract them from their studies, and their teachers grappling with the stress of post-Maria Dominica would be further challenged to deliver their best in the classroom. I am, however, happy to note that our concerns, though they were well-rooted, have not come to bear. Instead, this year, we are witnessing similar results to what obtained in previous years.
This year, 91 children will be awarded scholarships in the amount of $500 each for books and school material, and 99 will receive bursaries of $300 each. Meantime, Chief Education Officer Melina Fontaine says the ministry continues to keep track of the performance of students who left the island following Hurricane Maria. Fontaine reports that grade 6 pupils who are off island have also done well overseas.
We have also been doing some monitoring of our students who left to continue their education in the other islands immediately after the hurricane. Reports coming in indicate that the students who have been in grade 6, who would have been in grade 6, are also doing well in the schools in the other islands. They and their families are to be commended, and we are happy to report that some of them are coming back to continue their secondary education in Dominica.
In other top stories, police confirmed at least one death resulting from a shooting in Newtown on Wednesday.
One young man, Kerry George, shot while sitting in a bus outside Ruben's Bakery on Wednesday. Sources tell Channel 5 News George was apparently shot by a stray bullet. From the looks of it, several rounds went off in the direction of the bus and the bakery. There is speculation that Wednesday's shooting could be some sort of retaliation for another shooting which may have taken place a few weeks earlier. We cannot independently confirm this, but a source tells Channel 5 News it appears the shooting targeted his associate and not George himself. It is being speculated that the shooting may have been the result of some sort of conflict between opposing factions. Up to news time, there was no official police report on the shooting.
In other developments, the Dominica Association of Industry and Commerce is putting the spotlight on the subject of marijuana use.
This is in an effort to explore new economic opportunities for the private sector. DAIC will host its annual general meeting next week under the theme A Look Ahead, Opportunities and Challenges of Legalizing Cannabis in Dominica. DAIC's Executive Director Lizra Fabian says the non-governmental organization is interested in bringing the issue up for national discussion.
There are so many opportunities available for us, and instead of looking at all the traditional ways, we're looking at new ways of creating impact for our members and for businesses in Dominica. We see that if this is a great possibility for developing our economy, we would really want to pursue that. So what we're doing is encouraging dialogue. We're not saying legalize it, we're not saying do not legalize it, but we're looking at the economic impact of it and also all the benefits for us in Dominica. So we've invited Dr. Irving Pascal and Mr. Morris Ager to speak to this topic. They are both versed in the medical benefits of it and also the economic benefits. So we really want to bring these experts to join our membership and partners in discussing this topic.
Government officials have been invited, and the organization anticipates the marijuana discussion could lead the way to other actions.
We hope that this is the start to having great progress with this discussion. From this, we'll be able to see what opportunities lie therein, and hopefully it will stimulate action with private sector, public sector, civil society, and Dominicans as a whole. I also hope personally that from this discussion, I'll be able to understand more of the topic in terms of the economic impact and how this also impacts DAIC as a national organization. So from this discussion, we are looking at understanding more so we can make a better informed decision.
The forum will take place during DAIC's open session of its AGM on July 12 from 8:15 a.m.
The Public Service Union expects to submit its pre-budget proposal to government next week with consideration to increasing the minimum wage among its requests. Dominica's minimum wage is $4.05 an hour or $162 a week based on a 40-hour work week. General Secretary of the Public Service Union, Thomas Later, says a formal request will be made to the authorities to review that rate.
We also believe that one of the things that the government need to address during this budget is the question of the minimum wage. And after 2 decades, we believe it is time that the minimum wage be reviewed. So we are looking forward to the government addressing the question of the minimum wage in the budget.
In January 2015, National Security, Justice and Immigration Minister Rayburn Blackmore agreed then that it was an opportune time to review the minimum wage. The plan, according to him, was to examine the economies of other countries within our region to seek to strike a balance. St. Kitts and Nevis has the highest minimum wage within the Eastern Caribbean, that of $9 an hour or EC $320 per week, while Dominica's is the lowest among the OECS member states, according to a 2014 report.
Dominica pays the lowest minimum wage for the entire Caribbean, and something has to be done about it. As a matter of fact, when we as trade unionists, we travel overseas, and we have to make presentations, and if people raise the question to us, what is the minimum wage? We answer, but we bend our heads in answering because we feel ashamed. I mean, it's no pretense. You feel ashamed telling people that the minimum wage in Dominica, the lowest being paid is $4. That is just, doesn't make sense.
Later is also advising government to offer a provisional salary increase for public officers.
We hate to go to negotiations, and when we arrive there, that we are being told 0, 0, 0. We expect to see a growth in the economy, and we say that if there is a growth, we're not saying that we should take everything, but what we are saying, let us go back to what used to be done in the 1980s during the administration of Eugenia Charles, where she would make provisions, say for 3% salary increase. You know that is not what you may get, you have to negotiate, but at least she makes provision for a salary increase. And then when you get to the negotiation table, if it is more, then the funds sought for, and then that increase is paid. So we believe that is what should be done, but you cannot prepare a budget when you make absolutely no provision for a salary increase for public officers.
Coming up on the Channel 5 News, unanimous support for the anti-terror bill in Trinidad.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, galvanized and fenced pipe. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Welcome back. A recent ACT talk by the DHTA has provided the opportunity for the hotel sector to collectively speak to their concerns on a special tourism loan facility at the Aid Bank. DHTA's Executive Vice President Kevin Francis says their members have offered suggestions on addressing the lack of access to the loan facility. The Tourism Minister and Aid Bank officials also attended the session.
They were present for questions. Mrs. John Rose did present, and the Minister and PS, as well as DDO officials, were there to listen. And the Minister stayed for the entire session. We did run a little bit late, but he was more than happy to stay. He did make some comments, try to understand the issue a little bit more. We did have personal one-on-ones with a few hoteliers, and where they explained the issue, their concerns. And I believe it's coming from a good place. And it's just that we as a membership need to present it. We are compiling all these challenges, bottlenecks and recommendations, and we will put them together and then hopefully make a case for a revamp or a relook at that.
The main issue is that the loan does not cover refinancing.
You would think that if you have a loan facility that's not being drawn on, that your next step would be to figure out exactly why. I mean, yes, there is some onus on the private sector to give their opinion as to why, but then the onus is also on these other stakeholders to take these recommendations, tweak the facility how it needs to be, or take these bold steps and do these pilot projects, these radical pilot projects that we're proposing, or these members are proposing, to see how viable they are. In my opinion, would be everybody sit down at the table, IDA, the DDA, DHTA, Aid Bank, Ministry of Finance, and let's hash this out properly.
The DHTA has been advocating for refinancing to be a component of the loan facility in several instances, including at the budget consultation with government. However, Francis is hopeful that a more strategic approach could lead to a solution on the matter.
So you have to understand too that their hands are also tied based on the terms and conditions set forth to even loan the money. So in the beginning, when it was brought down, refinancing was not an option. All right. Now that we would like refinancing, the question becomes, okay, will refinancing really help? And in what way? How are we going to do this? Should we start with a pilot program? And then who should we choose for this pilot program? Should it be based on payment history, on good standing, on size, what happens? But it's a strategic planning process that needs to start, right? Yeah. And now that we're in this post-Maria landscape and we have enough talk about it, I really believe that this time it will be different.
In 11 days, the deadline for opposition and civil society suggestions and recommendations on the anti-terrorism legislation will be reached.
When Parliament convened last month, Justice Minister Reuben Blackmore decided to take the bill through only its first reading. Due to opposition statements that the bill would hinder constitutional freedoms, Parliament suspended the second and third readings of what will be harmonized anti-terrorism legislation. Parliament's action was meant to allow the opposition time to submit its suggestions for consideration. Meantime, outside of Dominica, but still within the region, Trinidad's Parliament on Tuesday passed an anti-terrorism bill. and they did it with the support of the parliamentary opposition. The online news outlet Newsday is reporting that 35 MPs in the House of Representatives, including both government and opposition members, voted unanimously for the Anti-Terrorism Amendment Bill. Newsday is also reporting that while the passage of the bill was unanimous, government and opposition MPs did engage in heated verbal exchanges during committee deliberations on the bill. Ironically, even if the opposition supported the anti-terrorism bill in Trinidad, opposition leader Kamala Prasad Bisesa is reported to have made a similar case to what the UWP has made here, saying the opposition was not attempting to derail the bill but was trying to protect human rights. The opposition may have supported the Anti-Terrorism Amendment Bill, but they have reportedly vowed to bring a motion of no confidence against the Speaker when Parliament resumes in September.
A disclosure made by the Minister for Health this week could hold a special meaning for consultant ophthalmologists and eye care patients across the country.
Health Minister Kenneth Daru made the revelation as he addressed stakeholders during a Diabetes Mellitus Stakeholders Workshop at the Goodwill Parish Hall. The Minister for Health made the announcement as he expressed appreciation for the work that Dr. Hazel Shillingford Ricketts has done and continues to do in the provision of eye care services.
I really want to thank her for what she's doing for Dominica. And I'm sure she was pleased, or she is pleased to know that as part of our $5 million increase pharmaceutical budget, that part of this budget is going to be used to procure anti-glaucoma and other ophthalmologic drugs for the patients. Something that she's been advocating, and of course giving me quite a leap for it from time to time for a very, very, very long time. So I'm sure she's pleased with this news.
The stakeholders workshop focused on the prevention and control of diabetes mellitus. The idea is to find a sustainable way of preventing blindness from diabetic retinopathy. That workshop was scheduled to end on Wednesday.
And in April this year, the Commonwealth heads of government at their meeting in the United Kingdom agreed to take action to ensure that all citizens had access to quality eye care.
The Commonwealth heads were also tasked to have the Commonwealth health ministers discuss eye health regularly. They also asked that progress achieved in bringing vision to all citizens is reported at future Commonwealth heads of government meetings. Dr. Ricketts warns that the complications of diabetes mellitus results in sickness and early death. She points out that it's expensive to manage these complications of blindness, kidney failure, amputations, strokes and heart disease. She says because Dominica cannot afford to manage these diseases, we must go back to prevention. Prevention, of course, was the focus of the Diabetes Stakeholders Workshop, which wrapped up here on Wednesday.
The UK has managed to eliminate diabetic retinopathy as the leading cause of blindness. We can learn from them. Under the Vision 2020 Links program, we want to continue our work with our UK partners after the Queen Elizabeth Diamond Jubilee Trust funded program comes to an end in 2019. We are thankful to the Queen Elizabeth, the Trust and the managers to have afforded Dominica to screen and treat more diabetics. The National Diabetic Retinopathy Screening and Treatment Program from April 2016 to June 2018, over 83 weeks, screened 1,771 diabetics.
559 of those screened were males, 1,212 were females.
Control their blood sugar, blood pressure, and cholesterol. The disease has already caused irreversible damage by the time the diagnosis of diabetic retinopathy is made. So the prevention of blindness is not in my quarters. It is in the quarters of primary care. Because by the time the patients come to me, that's it. I can only try to control it, not to reverse the clock.
To end the news, the headlines again. Sev Mackenzie tops the Grade 6 National Assessment, while the Ministry of Education says Hurricane Maria had no major impact on exam results. The DAIC wants to spark a national debate on marijuana use as it explores fresh economic opportunities for the private sector. And police investigate as a tragic shooting in Newtown leaves one young man dead. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Andrea Louis, and to all of our viewers around the world, thank you so much for watching. Join us tomorrow.